Hi, I'm Kimberly Washburn, Curator of Education at the Florence County Museum. Welcome to August's Family Day at Home. This month, we're celebrating the return to the classroom with back-to-school activities that are homemade and unique. So let's get started. Today, we're going to be making a tasseled bookmark. These little bookmarks are wonderful for holding your place in your favorite book or maybe even a book you've checked out from the school library. So let's get started. You're going to need to gather a few things from your Family Day at Home kit. You're going to need your cardboard rectangle, it's 2 inches by 3 inches, your large paper clip, your one very long piece of yarn, and your 2 shorter pieces of yarn. You're also going to need to find a pair of scissors from around your house. I have some here. The first steps in creating our tasseled bookmark, that'll look something like this, is going to be to wrap our tassel. So we're going to begin by making our tassel. To do that, we're going to need our long piece of yarn and our 2 inch by 3 inch cardboard square. I'm going to be wrapping my yarn around the longest length of the cardboard. So I'm not going to be wrapping it on that 2 inch shorter side, but around that 3 inch side. So I'm going to begin by just holding my yarn on the cardboard and wrapping it around the cardboard. Your yarn should wrap around the cardboard about 15 times. If it wraps a few more or a few fewer, that's fine too. And you might have a little extra long tail down at the bottom when you're finished. You can wrap that up or just leave it hanging. Either way is fine. Now, this is going to be our tassel, but we're going to tie it so that all these pieces of yarn are held firmly together. So grab one of those shorter pieces of yarn. These are about the same length. And we are going to just kind of lift up all of that bunch of yarn that's wrapped around and tuck that piece of yarn underneath the wrapped yarn. And I'm going to pull it all the way up to the top, and I'm going to tie that in a knot. You might want to try to level out your ends, just kind of match the 2 ends up and give it a tug to make sure that it's level. And I'm just going to tie that in a tight knot 2 or 3 times just to make sure it's very secure, nice and tight. Okay, and now we are ready to remove this from the cardboard. I have my 2 ends that I just wrapped, or that I just tied the wrapped threads with, and then I have all these threads wrapped around my cardboard. I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to slide them underneath that wrapped yarn and cut it at the bottom, and you can just slide your cardboard out. And now you should have sort of what's starting to look like a tassel. It's not exactly secure yet, but that's a nice start for our tassel. It doesn't matter if some of your strings are a different length. We're going to trim them all up right at the end. So to finish off your tassel, you're going to grab that other 12-inch piece of yarn, and I'm going to lay my wrapped pieces, lay my tassel here, right on top of that yarn. And I'm gonna give that a tie. Just gonna tie a little knot there. Oops. Can be a little finicky. If you are getting frustrated, you might wanna ask a grown-up to hold it still for you. Okay, so we just tied it in a knot. And if you want, you can even wrap these ends around, those long ends around. So let me show you what I did here. These are the ends I just tied. If you want, you can wrap those ends around to create something a little bit bulkier right in the middle. So I'm going to wrap those around. Wrap, and then I can give them another tie. You can trim these ends off, or you can leave them long just to be a part of your tassel. Either way is just fine. And so now I have a cute little tassel that I can attach to my bookmark. Now the last thing we're going to do before we attach it is just trim up our ends. The way I like to do this is by just kind of holding all the ends nice and tight together, like that. Just sort of gather them all up and trim them off, just like that. And you can just kind of give it your tassel a little shake. If you have any that are sticking out a little bit long, you can always trim those individually. So now we have our tassel all made, and our tassel is hanging from these two loose ends, and I'm just going to tie a little knot right in the end of that. Those two loose ends to secure them together. Any kind of knot, a little overhand knot, or just like a square knot, anything that will hold those two ends together so that you have around a loop right there. Okay, and now we're going to attach this to our paper clip. This paper clip is going to serve as our bookmark. So the way that we do this, let me get these out of the way. The way that we attach this to our paper clip. Now you'll notice when you hold your paper clip, usually the top end has a loop and then another loop. You can see this top curve and then that curve. We're going to actually put that facing down. This is what's going to attach to your book, and your tassel is going to attach to what we would normally probably think of as the bottom of the paper clip. I'm going to stick that loop into the bottom, just like that. I'm going to open up this area where the knot is, and I'm just going to stick my tassel through that little loop I've created. Just pull it through, give it a nice tug, and there is our tassel bookmark. Let me show you how to use it. So when you're reading and you come to a spot in your favorite book and you have to take a break from reading, you just take your paper clip bookmark, clip it right onto the page that you're stopping on, close up your book, and your spot is securely saved. We hope that you've enjoyed making tassel bookmarks with us today, and we hope that you have a wonderful school year this year.